Did you just finish watching this?
Well, Lane.
I knew it. I was like, this is going to be... I'm still wearing my fucking lanyard from work. I was like, this is going to be the most deranged, by far, the most deranged episode we've ever recorded. For sure, 100%.
I'm still wearing my Bobby Darin lanyard from the movie.
I'm mad at you for being late because I busted ass to get here. I left work early. Shout out work. I've checked into this fucking shit hotel.
Shout out shit hotel.
It's so dark in here. Fuck this place. It's like, yeah, the energy is bad. I tried to get dinner because I didn't eat dinner or anything. And I went down there because I've been to this hotel before for work, and they were like, usually they have like a freezer of like frozen pizzas and a Hot Pocket and whatever, like food.
Yeah. And
all they had was drinks. Like, I guess their freezer was broken. And so all I got was a Truly. So
nice.
we're in good shape.
Okay.
I had to change hotels midway through. So I was in the nice hotel before, and now I'm in the shit dark hotel. But I brought my notes that I took while watching this. You can't see.
Yeah, okay, now I can see them, yeah.
Front and back, yeah.
Wow. Is that... You know what? I was going to say the name of the hotel on the, whatever it is, the
You can
stationery.
say it. I mean, what are people
going
to
do? Is
do?
that the Omni over there? I don't know. It's you know what? It's not even a worthwhile bit. I was doing very basic observational skills. That's it. We can move on.
Shout out the Omni. It's
Shout
a cool
out the
hotel.
Omni.
I am not there. I'm at the fucking Embassy Suites, which is like...
Fuck the Embassy Suites. We all hate the Embassy Suites.
There are roaches watching us do this, like, is how I feel in this hotel. It's nasty. There's also there's an atrium in the lobby, like back here, and so that's just like the hallway. Like, there's just a huge window just into the hallway, and you can like see all the other rooms. No, not nice.
Oh, wait,
the fucking curtains do not close all the way.
Oh, nice.
So, like, someone's gonna see me in here, I guess. Anyway.
They're gonna see me on my computer, think I'm a fucking nerd, like a gamer or something.
Yeah, they're gonna see me with my podcast
individual.
mic. It's about to be so depressing. Shout out any new coworkers listening to this podcast, because I got drunk and talked about my podcast a couple nights ago.
Shout out Lane's new coworkers listening because of a drunken revelation. Let's go.
The day after, I like checked our stats, and there were like, it was like 3 new subscribers, 10 listens today. I was like, oh fuck, like, what have I done?
People listening like at work.
Yeah. Oh my god, can you imagine?
I don't know. I feel like my friends who listen probably just throw it on at work. So.
Yeah, but like it's not to your coworkers, right?
No, true.
What is this lighting? The lighting is deranged in here. Okay. Hey, how's it going? I'm all amped.
Yeah, you're amped. Let it be known, just for the record, we hopped on call, and immediately Lane was like, I didn't even say anything. I was like, hey, what's up? And immediately Lane was like, start up the fucking pod. Like, start your recording right now.
No. You did say something. In fact, you came into this pod going, do-do-do-do-do, which is how I knew. I knew that you watched this 5 minutes ago.
All right.
I know. I can tell.
All right. Wow. Closer
Introduce
to
our podcast.
20-ish minutes now. Hey, welcome, faithful listeners. This is We Want to Watch. I'm Ricky, and this is...
I'm Lane. I'm also Lane.
Very Lane over here.
Extremely today. What is the premise of this show?
The premise of this show is that Lane is a erudite movie watcher, film goer, who is teaching me their ways. So
is that the premise of this
show?
From
a plebeian to a film bro to a film connoisseur, even.
To a cinephile.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
What the fuck?
Not bad.
I don't think that's the premise of this show. I think the premise of this show is now that we talk about movies
that we want to watch. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And this week.
Good intro for this week.
This week was Elaine's Frame, and it was I gave you the choice. I want to just let it be known that I gave you the choice, and you chose this movie.
You gave me the blind choice. A blind choice, Lane. Okay.
Yeah, I gave you like a veiled choice. It wasn't totally blind. And we chose Beyond the Sea from 2004, directed by Kevin Spacey. Should we say something else instead of his name throughout this episode? Because I don't want to just like put Kevin Spacey like into the podcast that much.
Into the atmosphere.
Like I feel like we should come up with a nickname.
The ether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ether. Yeah. Frank Underwood, is that his character's name from that show? House of Cards?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in anything.
In anything?
No, I think this is actually like
That's
the first piece of
crazy.
media of like Kevin Spacey media that I've ever consumed.
You've never seen
Your
Seven?
eyes are bugging out of your head right now. No, I haven't seen Seven.
You haven't seen Seven? Have you not seen? I know you haven't seen American Beauty. Have you seen? Horrible Bosses.
Nope.
The Usual Suspects. Baby Driver.
Oh, Baby Driver. Oh, he was in Baby Driver. Yeah. Okay, I have seen
He
Baby Driver.
was in Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Oh, you've seen Glengarry Glen Ross.
I have seen Glengarry. He was in Glengarry
Right.
Glen Ross?
Yeah, he's the one who says, "Will you go to lunch?" That we always say.
He's
the one. Yeah.
he's the guy that they bring in. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no. He's not the guy that they bring. He's the like shitty secretary guy who Al Pacino's like, "You fucking child." Like he says that to him at one point.
Vaguely. I vaguely remember him.
He says like, he's like giving Jack Lemmon, the main guy who, spoiler for Glengarry Glen Ross, go watch that movie. He's giving him shit because Jack Lemmon is the one who broke into the office and stole the leads.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Please, you can't do this to me. Why are you doing this to me?" And Kevin Spacey goes like, "Because I don't like you." Like he's playing like a douchebag.
Yeah. Okay, vaguely I remember him.
He's the grasshopper in Bug's Life.
What do you lead with that, Lane? Something that I would know, something I would relate to.
The leads!
The leads! You're stealing the leads over here, Lane.
Oh my god, okay.
You have to speak to your audience. Me being the audience in this case, not any of our actual audience.
The actual podcast listeners. So I picked this movie because I think I've heard it's a terrible movie and it seemed like a fun one to talk about. And I think it's a terrible movie and I think it's going to be a fun one to talk about.
Okay. And you know what? I think this, again, comes down to me not having seen many movies. I didn't think it was that bad.
I knew you were gonna lead with this. I knew it.
What else am I supposed to lead with, Lane? Come on. This is my lead.
Beyond the Sea leads.
Actually, what I wanted to lead with was that I've been seeing Twitter discourse about people who back into their parking spaces recently, and just people.
And you thought about me?
Yes, I thought of you, and people hating on it because several times I've been in your car and you've like backed.
Jealous. They're jealous.
They are jealous, honestly.
Yeah.
Skill issue. Everything that I've heard, every complaint around it comes down to skill issue, because they're like, oh, but like. Took so much longer to back in. Yeah, and it takes longer to back out. And you have a higher chance of getting in an accident.
Thank you.
And every time...
The best way... I was going to say... the only good advice that my dad ever gave me, for the listeners, is that the best way to avoid a backing accident is to avoid backing. And so that I try to back in to parking spots all the time. I think I've said that exact phrase to probably half of the listeners on the show who've been in the car with me, Ricky included. So, yeah. But it's true. If you can't back into a parking spot, you shouldn't drive.
Facts.
Sorry. Get off the road.
How are you going to back out of it? Like, what? Oh, you've got more space? Yeah, because, like, cars have to move through that area, bro. Like, you're just going to back into another... Yeah, you're just backing into something else.
A person, a shopping cart, a street light, whatever it is.
Street
anyway.
lights, people... What song is that? I think that's a Kanye song.
No.
What's
Street lights?
people?
I can't carry a tune. It's Journey.
Yeah.
It's Don't Stop Believin', not a Kanye.
Oh, it is Don't
song.
Stop Believin'. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
Holy shit.
Happen to be just like moments in front.
What is our nickname for the? What is our nickname for the star and director of this movie? Since we don't, should we call him Hopper?
We could do Starry. Well, I kind of want to do something. A, he's the star, and B, it's a riff off of his last name. I was thinking. Okay, all right, Lane. Right, don't have to make that face. You know what? I don't know. I'm not going to pitch anything. You pitch him.
All right, we'll just call him Kevin Spacey until we get sick of that.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Are we a big enough podcast, and or is there? Does he have shooters enough on the internet that are going to like find that we reviewed this, and if I call him like a rapist and whatnot, and not say allegedly?
No.
I'm actually
and
unsure
B,
how that goes.
Like he is a rapist, and possibly pedophile, right? I thought he was a pedophile as well.
Allegedly. I mean, I don't think he's ever been convicted of anything.
Okay.
So I don't know. Not that really means anything, but
Right.
from like a legal standpoint, I don't know where that leaves us.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just put in like a big
defamation?
disclaimer at the front.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll cut in me saying allegedly
every time.
I call him a rapist.
Yeah. So we're like, get a load of this guy. He was a fucking rapist, pedophile, allegedly.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
You
but
thought this movie was like okay?
yeah, I mean, passable. Although I will say, I had a lot of. So part of that was me. At several times, I went like, I just hate this because it's Kevin Spacey, and I have bad feelings towards Kevin Spacey.
Okay, but I think this movie sucks because it's Kevin Spacey, not because he's a rapist, allegedly, but because this movie, the central conceit of him playing in this movie is bad, and every choice that he makes as a director and actor are bad, and he's a terrible fit for it, and like, it's terrible. This movie's so bad. I can't believe. Yeah, so. It's tough. I thought you would have had more of like an understanding of his career, I guess. Just because he's he was such a big star
Of Kevin Spacey,
but
or
I guess
of
Kevin
our boy.
Spacey,
Okay.
not Bobby Darin.
Bobby Darin,
not,
yeah.
not our boy Bobby Darin.
I was like,
yeah.
sheesh, all right.
And Bobby Darin,
Such a
innocent.
household name.
Bobby Darin, innocent. Yeah.
So I will say I did actually look up stuff about Bobby Darin while watching this movie because I was like, I wanted to see just how accurate a lot of the stuff was.
Oh, I did too afterward.
Yeah.
It's like he was into orgies, I guess. Like there's some cool stuff in there.
Didn't touch on that. Neat. I was looking at the civil rights activist stuff. Didn't really touch on his
Both
orgy.
cool.
Yeah.
Both cool.
Both cool.
Like, yeah.
I will say, so like he did do like the civil rights stuff, and he did stand up to the owner of the Copacabana, which I thought was neat, really cool stuff, especially for the time. Let's focus on Bobby Darin for a little bit. I want to talk about Bobby Darin
For just a minute. Okay.
Yeah, just a minute.
I'm fine with that
Like,
because
he's a cool guy.
Because his life and this movie, not the same thing.
Not the same thing. Not the same thing. I will say a weird choice that this movie made is the reveal that his
yes.
Yeah.
Sister and mother,
mom.
yeah.
Yeah, the woman who was raised as his sister was actually his mom, and the woman who raised him as his mother was his grandmother. Is a real thing that happened to Bobby Darin, right?
And it's a real thing that happens to all kinds of people. That happened to Jack Nicholson. That's like the real, Anyway.
It definitely happened at like, or at least from what I read, it seemed to happen at a different point in his life than what they sort of displayed in the movie. They also really didn't show him getting divorced in the movie, but like
no, and remarried.
Yeah, he got divorced when his kid was like 7, which I mean, I guess we see him packing up stuff at around that time, like he was leaving and stuff. But I don't know, it felt sort of weirdly paced around then. He also like mentions Kennedy a couple times, Robert RFK.
Yeah.
Who Bobby Darin, the person, was there for when RFK got shot, and apparently.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently he. I don't know how they transported RFK's body to Washington, but apparently, like, Bobby Darin either followed, was like a part of a motorcade with it, something along those lines, and like laid down at the tomb and like waited until they like had finished preparations and stuff to bring the body out and bury him.
The drama.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I mean, this guy, like, sure, he's an entertainer, whatnot, but like, he was committed, and like, this was while he was doing the whole like. The end half of the movie where it focuses on how he goes into
how he turns into John Lennon, basically.
Yeah. He focuses on more folksy songs. Which I mean, Bobby Darin did do, and like he was definitely doing that during that time period. I didn't read of any Vegas crowds applauding him for it. I read of many booing him off stage several times, so I don't know why they sort of changed that. It seemed like a weird change.
I can think of a couple of reasons why. Yeah.
Is it because Kevin Spacey likes to masturbate to his own films, or is that like...
Yes,
oh, okay,
absolutely.
Cool. All right,
Yeah.
okay. Just
This
making
movie
sure.
is one big jerk off, like into the mirror. Like it's terrible. This movie's so, he wants to be cool and like just like liked and whatever, entertaining and charismatic so bad.
Oh, and you can
Like,
tell that from the very
that's-
first scene, right?
Okay, all right, are we done talking about Bobby Darin? I
Yeah.
want to give you the we want a Bobby Darin corner. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if you have more to say, please.
No.
give it.
I mean, Kevin Spacey himself, you can tell like that's what he wanted. Like when he, like the way
Yeah.
he sets up that first scene is like it's like oh
Yeah.
it's very. I know you haven't seen Neon Genesis Evangelion, but it's very like congratulations, you did it. And there's a scene at the end which it's about a teenage kid and it's supposed to show like oh hey buddy like you can participate in the world and like don't be afraid to, right? Like great job, you did it, you've interacted with another human. So it's like I don't know, it's odd that like a grown man is putting that same scene at the beginning of his film and like to like the opposite effect essentially.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree.
We can leave the Bobby Darin corner.
Are you sure? Because I've got.
Do you have Bobby Darin stuff? You can lay some Bobby Darin stuff on me. If you've got
I really
Bobby Darin.
don't. I mean the biggest thing I would say before I get into like the flaws that like the particular choices made in this movie and the flaws that kind of led to it being I think so disastrous. I just don't understand why this movie was made.
Right.
Not that I mean it's not like this movie. There are interesting things like the things you just mentioned. Those are, the civil rights story, even though it's a little white saviory, and I think this movie falls into that trap a little bit. But, it just doesn't seem there's no interesting angle here, and that's a fault of the screenplay, which I think Kevin Spacey didn't originate this. I guess the script had been around for like 15 or 20 years before this movie was made, but like. The central conceit is just like a very average biopic about a pretty normal-ish, not normal, but like, I don't know. It doesn't take any good angle on it. Like the angle just seems to be that he strives for excellence and then, the kind of fallout from that. And it just, I think I have a hard time telling if that's just a boring story about a somewhat interesting guy, or if it's specifically so tied to Kevin Spacey seeing himself in this person and like mirroring or trying to like draw comparisons to his own career. Like this movie's very meta. Like from the beginning, it's very like, you can draw a lot of parallels to Spacey's career and like his image to Bobby Darin, and I don't think that they're like good comparisons. Like I don't think that they're like favorable in Kevin Spacey's corner, in the way that he wants them to be. And so this movie is just disastrous from like every way.
Yeah. Real quick before you go off on, go off, Queen.
Thank you.
Not nearly enough orgies. All right, like the fact that you dropped this bombshell on me and they didn't even show it once in the film,
I noticed that you tabbed away to
radar?
a different. I noticed that you tabbed away to a different window. You were like, Control F orgy in the Bobby Darin Wikipedia. I got you.
It's just me like feverishly like searching. I'm like, I just don't see it. I just don't see it anywhere. Like
orgies, orgasm,
like, sex parties, swinger, upside down pineapple. Like, no. But
so that.
Yeah, so that. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to say after that.
This is a meta movie.
It is a meta
disastrous
movie.
from
It
a
is
bunch
disastrous.
of angles.
Maybe it was like a
Boring
disaster
story.
movie joke. I don't know. It's fine. I don't know anything about Kevin Spacey's life to be able to draw comparisons. I guess I'll say.
I mean,
I remember what I wanted to say. I think my biggest problem with this movie is, and it's like kind of a weird one, I guess. They didn't want to commit to anything. It feels like, or like every like interpersonal conflict is just like resolved very easily, sort of like flippantly almost. And
totally, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and then the civil rights white saviory thing, right? So like, at least from the way that I read the story off of like 2 different articles, it made it seem like Bobby Darin straight up said like, "Hey, I'm not performing if I can't have my man like open for me, right? When in this film, he made it seem like it was like he did like a veiled threat sort of thing where he was like, hey, like there might be some
they're gonna come do sit-ins,
for this outdated policy, and it's like, no, I think the real Bobby Darin would just say, nah, fuck you, I'm not gonna do this. Like, I'm a big fucking star, and like so like Bobby Darin, like the movie sort of tries to push like, oh, he has such this big ego, like you said, he's like pushing for perfection or whatever, or like striving for excellence. And then it just doesn't show him doing that, right? Like, I don't know.
I agree. I think this movie is written not just like boring, but it's so centrally focused on Bobby Darin and Kevin Spacey. It's like all the other characters suffer as a result. There's like several scenes where just characters kind of just exist to either bask in the glow of the central character, or they have it like the Sandy character, like her alcoholism is almost played for laughs at certain points. Like, and she on their wedding night, and I know we're getting into it, but on their wedding night, she like starts crying and like has this crazy freak out for without any real reason. Although apparently in real life she like was a victim of child abuse. So there's a whole bunch there that was not explored because
never
that
touched
would jeopardize.
They didn't mention it at all.
Yeah. God forbid we humanize another character besides the central, main, golden boy. And so it just has this, like, very silly kind of, like you said, like, it's all resolved very quickly. They just, like, he lays the sword down, like, his genius fucking, I mean, like, I'm not one to say white knight, but, like, really, like, the white knightiest thing you could possibly do.
Wait, because he tells the story of the original White Knight, and he's like, there was a knight that laid beside Guinevere and put his sword down and said, I shall not cross over the sword. It's like definition white knighting. Like, please,
it's gross. Bro. Yeah. Okay. We have to take a step back here.
Also, Bobby Darin, the real Bobby Darin, wrote songs for his wife to perform. He loved that woman. Okay, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I don't really know him, but like off of the like.
Well, they were also closer in age. Okay, we got it.
Yeah, they were too. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Kevin Spacey is old, man. I honestly
listen.
He looked like 40 next to her, and she looked like a teenager in the beginning of this film. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
Richard, he was 45 when he made this movie, and and Bobby Darin died at like 35.
I know.
Like, that's part of the problem.
I thought the beginning of the film, I thought he was grooming her. I thought that was like a grooming thing. When he was making...
He was! I mean, like, in this movie?
In this movie. Not the real Bobby Darin. But when he was, like, making moves on her mom...
Allegedly.
When he was making moves on her mom, I was like, oh, okay, that's like a more acceptable relationship. Maybe that's the way this film goes. And then, like, once he started making moves on her daughter, and like other people in the film are like, this is a normal average thing to happen. I was like, I gotta look up this fucking guy. Like, I gotta see like what actually happened. Like, when in his life this happened. I don't know.
Yeah, they were only like 3 years in age, like difference, or 5 or something, like when they actually got together in real life. Okay. I have to set the table with this a little bit.
All right.
Since you don't really know much about Kevin Spacey, I don't want to spoil certain things that he's in.
Like Kevin Spacey's life. Like, you want to spoil it? Like,
no, I don't really know much about his life. I only know about his career, and so like before all the alleged sex pest stuff,
right?
Like, I mean, that stuff was happening maybe, but whatever. Like, in
allegedly
the 90s when he got famous. So his, like, big breakout roles, like his big ones, he's playing, like, a slime ball. Because he looks and acts like a slime ball.
Yeah.
He is, and so he's in Seven, and he's, spoilers, and in The Usual Suspect, and... I mean, Glenn Ross, he's in LA Confidential, kind of playing not a greasier, he's kind of still greasy, but like he plays greasy guys, and so even in American Beauty, he's playing like a sarcastic, like he's the protagonist, but like that movie hasn't aged well because he's not likable really, and like he's playing a kind of jaded, cynical, sleazy kind of dude, and so that's what people like him for. He was Oscar nominated multiple times and has won multiple times for playing sarcastic, sleazy, whatever, like bad guys, which is fine. But you can tell in his heart of hearts, because he made this movie, you can tell he really wanted to be Tom Cruise, or maybe Tom Hanks is a better comparison, or like a likable, a Bruce Willis even.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. They don't
I
have to
can
have
sing.
hair as long as they're likable, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. He can sing, he can act, he can entertain. He wants to be like a. See, there's fucking.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing him. Yeah.
Great.
The weird lighting is like.
Ew. Yeah. My God. I'm gonna cover my Truly here. So, he wants to be this like.
No flies going over. Allegedly.
He wants to be. I'm gonna fucking kill you. We are like 20 minutes in. We have not talked about this movie. Like
we're starting on it.
So, okay, all right. But so he wants to be.
He wants to be across the sea. Sorry.
He does. He clearly wants to be like a likable, whatever, like beloved, like America's man, and he makes this movie. And it's so clearly a vanity project, because of, I mean, they opened the movie, like, within fucking 5 minutes of, not even 5 minutes, like 3 of this movie starting, there are characters being like, oh, he's too old to play himself in his own movie. And that's because of the fucking meta commentary around this movie of Kevin Spacey being 10 years older than Bobby Darin is when he makes this movie than when Bobby Darin died. Benny. I almost said Benny Hill.
Good old Benny boy.
But so... Yeah, like, he comes on screen, and he is so desperate, and like, not only desperate, but like overly confident, self-absorbed, and dead-eyed. Do you notice how like dead behind the eyes he is in this movie? Like, extremely, like more than anything else I've ever even seen him in.
Yeah. He was immediately unlikable to me, personally. Like, before I had read about Bobby Darin, I was like, man, this guy's kind of a dickhead, dude. Just off of like the beginning of the film, and then like as I read more about him in the middle part of the film, like an hour or so ago, my opinions changed. I started feeling like better towards Bobby Darin overall. I like that you are now America's foremost Bobby Darin expert because you read a couple articles about him lying on RFK's grave. I'm just like, I'm a fan more than an expert. Like it's not like I have knowledge about him. I just have an appreciation for the man. Yeah. So that's the thing is like he wants to come across as like a likable, scamp, right? In this movie. Right. Like he's trying to turn his persona into like his like, I play a fucking serial killer or a whatever. He basically made a career in the 90s of playing like the third act turn bad guy, or like shocking, anyway. Yeah. But so spoilers, it's like he wants to do that so bad, and like you're saying, it's like you can have an unlikable character that you kind of still want to see on screen, or you come around to liking even though they have a complex psychology, or maybe they're a dick but they have good reasons. That does not happen here. Yeah. In this movie, he is just like, the movie frames him like you're supposed to think he's great and just a lovable scamp from minute 1, and it does not work. They open with the song fucking Mac the Knife, which is so scary to come out of Kevin Spacey's mouth. Like, that's a scary song to begin with, but then like, he's fucking on stage, like in the little frame story that falls apart almost instantly. And, he's singing this awful song about a murderer, like, or whatever, a rapist, who knows, all of the above. I don't, Mac the Knife is a frightening song. But, just like, it immediately sets you on edge. So I can feel my shoulders like rising. I'm so tense even just thinking about it. So speaking of the frame story, right, which did fall apart pretty immediately. What the fuck happens with that? Like, okay, like he connects with his like inner child, who is an actual child who he's working with. Yeah. And then that's just never seen again. That the biopic that he's creating
until the very biopic.
Biopic. Are
you trying to say biopsy?
What? I can't say biopic. Is that it? Biopic?
I'm pretty sure it's biopic.
Biopic.
I mean. Yeah, like a biographical picture. That's what you're trying to say.
Biographical picture. Biopic. I'm gonna keep saying it biopic. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, like I mean, it makes more sense in the context of like a meta commentary, right? Because outside of that, what the fuck? And like they sort of touch on it like a very little bit in the beginning where he does like the musical number where they're like walking down the street and kicking yada
Right.
yada, and the kid's like, "Hey,
Okay,
they didn't
wait.
actually do that," and he was like, "All right, kid, it's a musical act." And then they're just like, "Oh, okay, now it's back to Bobby Darin's actual life," and like, I don't know, it was weird, and like the rest of
Okay.
that's not a musical. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So I felt so sad when they were rolling the credits at the beginning, and it says like, you know, Kevin Spacey, John Goodman, Bob Hoskins, and it says, and introducing ... little Bobby is whatever the kid actor's name, and I was like, oh, this kid definitely did not have a career after this movie, not because of the kid, but because this movie was so bad.
Yeah.
There's no way. And yeah, it is like the framing. It's like we start with the biopic thing, and then he has his little like meltdown where he's like, we have to do it this way, and he's arguing with John Goodman, and the movie basically like, you know, it has some random like production assistant or something on the set be like, call him an asshole or something.
Yeah.
And then of course John Goodman and Bob Hoskins have to be like, but he's our asshole. And it's like, oh, you just want to like defend yourself. Like you're just trying to get them to like, of course you want John Goodman to defend you. Everybody does. That's like a universal fantasy of any person.
So John Goodman was great here, playing the lovable bear character as always.
Playing himself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is great. Like love to see him. Same with Bob Hoskins.
And it was like the three guys at the table, and
Yeah.
I think either John Goodman or one of the other turns around and they go, "Listen, there are 4 guys on this crew that can't get fired, and you're not one of them."
Yeah, and you're not one of them. Yeah, yeah.
And then like
Goofy.
coordinated. Like the one guy goes, "He may be an asshole, but," and then like all 3 of them go,
Yeah.
"He's our asshole." Like that's something that they have to do very often, and like they need to coordinate for it often enough that
And
it's
they
just
know
a
to
thing.
do it.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is too, like this movie, you know, sometimes people will use the phrase like it looks like a play or it looks like theater or like it's stage, you know, about a movie. Sometimes people will say that derogatorily, and this is an instance. I don't
Yeah.
think that all feel like actually Glengarry Glen Ross, which is a play or originated as a play, like that movie feels stagey when you're watching it, you know, just because of like the way they're delivering the lines and like everything's kind of set, you know, on stage or on a sound stage. But this, like, it has that feeling of like it can't decide if it wants to be sincere, if it's being kind of sarcastic, if it's being meta, like everything, it just doesn't blend, like it doesn't commit, like you're saying, and it comes across really cringy.
Yeah.
It comes across
Oh,
so
yeah.
cringy.
Speaking of sound, this movie, I don't know if it was just the way I was listening to it, if it was like the YouTube copy, whatever. I think the sound editing on it is actually like really bad.
Yeah,
Everything was like mixed to the exact same level across the entire film, and so it makes
yeah, it was hard to hear at times. Yeah, like the dialogue and stuff. Yeah,
But anytime that somebody's like facing away from the screen or like anywhere like in 3D space, there's just like no stereoscopic audio at all. It was just like a wall of audio, like you are either hearing them or not. And I was like, all right, that's
yeah,
cool. But it really made it so that like it felt like there was no depth, and it felt like they had to like dub over every scene. At least according like
there was a lot of that. Yeah,
I
no,
know
I
if
don't
they
think
did,
you're wrong.
But like
I think this movie was kind of poorly technically made. I think
Yeah.
this movie was like it's lit really ugly. It's really harsh and ugly. And again, I was like, because I was watching this buzzed on my employer's dime,
Truly.
you know, yeah, not on Truly, no.
You're waving excited.
You know,
yeah.
just like I was doing the
Dime,
precise
yeah.
hand sign, yeah. And I was casting this onto the like hotel TV from YouTube, and I was like, man, is there like motion smoothing on this movie or on this TV? Like, is there something going on? And I like switched to my laptop. No, the movie just looks like that. It's so harsh. Everything looks like it's lit up like really flat and like, yeah, like the there's kind of no like close-ups or like anything that like every scene is kind of shot the same. And like the outdoor scenes and the indoor scenes and the like nightclub scenes, like they all kind of look the same. It's very flat.
Yeah.
And just I'm scrubbing through it now just to like be mad all over again.
Flat is the perfect way to put it, though, right? Like both visually and like
to be
audio,
mad all over
right?
again on this.
And you know what? Even the plot falls pretty flat, right? It's all flat.
It is. Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say about
it's. I'll just get this out of the way now. The reason I did not give this movie 1/2 star, I gave it 1 star, is because you really can't fuck up the music. It's good music.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's flat and it's not mixed well, it's like he does a good job singing.
Yep.
And that's like that's what this movie feels like it's trying to do, you know, at its heart, I guess, or you know, one of many things it wants to do or wants you to believe. And it's like, good job. Like I could have just listened to the album.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, Kevin Spacey did sing all of these songs, which is like, good for him, I guess.
Good for him.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's too bad that he looks like ground beef stuffed in a condom, like while he's singing it. It's so bad. Like
Christ.
he looks so scary, and like he doesn't have.
He doesn't have the
it.
charisma. Yeah.
Like I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He really doesn't. When he looks like he's fucking animated in Gmod. Like during the like when he's in the booth at one point when he's kind of like dancing and he doesn't even. Like, I've seen you and I do better moves in Zumba. Like,
Yeah.
You know what? And I'm not being sarcastic either. Like, he really does. Like, he's so stiff and, like, dead. Like, he looks like he's being, like, a marionette, like, puppet. He just, it's scary.
When you mentioned that it watches like a play, the first thing that came to mind is, like, it looks like a puppet show almost, right? Where, like he's sort of, like, stiff. And, like, yeah, he's singing, right? But, like, he's still very stiff with it. His motions aren't very flowing. And the fact that that's such like a maybe not poignant point, but it's a point that like they make earlier in the film.
It's the most important part of the whole thing.
You're gonna be the biggest ever. You're gonna be bigger than
Frank Sinatra. Yeah,
yeah. It was like, all right, cool, I guess.
I'm watching this again. I'm watching the scene where he's singing on whatever it is. I can't remember, the NBC, like when he's singing live for the first time and he has the writing on his hand.
Oh yeah.
He's so awkward. And you know what doesn't help? And we should talk about this too. The prosthetic nose.
Oh,
so
I didn't
bad.
even notice.
Are you serious?
I'm bad at
there are times
I'm just not good at this, noticing this sort of thing.
This is my airbender. I want you to know.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you have one.
I haven't seen this before, but
I will say
I figured it would be fun.
There were 3 scenes, and I'm surprised you didn't call this out immediately. There were 3 scenes where like really awkward like cuts were made, and
only 3?
well, I mean, there are a lot of scenes where awkward cuts are made, but in these particular scenes, like you can tell that they cut something from it because like somebody says something and the response just
for sure
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make
all.
any sense. Yeah.
But it's like obviously
they're definitely
like,
responding
this is...
not to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
But it becomes like, oh, okay, like we're just moving on from that. I don't know. It was weird.
Well, the editing in this, sometimes it feels like horror. And like it doesn't help that it's lit so poorly and like green at times.
Yeah.
It's like Saw. Like it's like watching Saw at certain points. Like the scene where they're coming back from their wedding and they're on their like their wedding night, and he like can't find her in the hotel room. It's like it's suddenly a horror movie, and you're like, is he gonna kill her? Like there were several times when I was like, is he going to kill the person that he's talking to? Like in this scene, like because he's so scary and like just poorly. Really just bad casting, you know. Like if it had been anyone else, it could have been maybe a 2.5 star like movie, but this. It's so creepy throughout the whole thing.
And I think a lot of that also comes down to the screenplay, the like writing that, and then like the directing. Like when he finds her, like the door cracks
in the closet,
open,
like
and
hiding.
She's like back
it
in
might
the
as well
corner
go
in the dark. Yeah. I mean, he might as well just break it down with an axe at that point. We might as well see his face through it. Like,
here's Kevin. Like, I mean,
Here's Spacey, right? And then
Well, oh no,
when
okay,
when he brought the sword in too, and she was like freaking out, I was like,
yeah,
like obviously
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
all right,
he
they're
might
not
kill
making
her.
this a slasher, but like I was like, Jesus, this is
Yeah, but like I
interesting.
had the same reaction she did. Like,
Yeah.
oh, is he gonna kill her? Like, but no, like his, he's already dead behind the eyes, like we talked about, and like he's just a creepy actor. But then to put the fake nose on it too, it kind of like just distorts his face and like makes him even less able to emote.
Right.
And so, not only that, but like you can even see the like how smooth the nose is and like where the putty of the application ends on his nose and like where his real face begins at certain times, because this movie's lit so poorly you can see it. It reminded me of Maestro, of the Bradley Cooper movie, which I know you haven't seen, but we talked about that a lot in like the group chat last year and everything. And not only is that movie way better than this one, but it's just an interesting comparison, because that I'm making myself, I'm complimenting myself and saying I'm making an interesting comparison here, but the like Bradley Cooper is also really thirsty for everybody to like him, right? He's really thirsty to be like, accepted and beloved and everything, and it backfires on him because he's so desperate, but not because he's creepy necessarily. Like he's not like a creepy guy. He's not necessarily like a guy who can't do what he's doing. It's just that he's so overeager and like theater kid about it. Whereas obviously, and he makes vanity projects too. Like Maestro is kind of a vanity thing. He's obviously drawing comparisons between him and Leonard Bernstein in that movie. He's made, A Star Is Born. Like he's made other movies that are, just as much about him and his, destiny or desire for a strong career. But those movies are successful, and this one is really bad. And also, Kevin Spacey is a sex pest, allegedly. So,
fair.
Anyway,
yeah, I do want to say that the scene right near the beginning where, he and his wife are before they're married, when they're like in front of the press, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's like,
Yeah.
when I say run. I was like, oh, that's fucking weird. And then also like the timing on that, he was like, oh my God, look over there. And then they start running and like,
and they all go like, huh?
yeah,
Like all their
it's fucking
friends.
Scooby Doo.
It's, like, really
yeah,
corny.
and then like it cuts back to them, and they're already running, and you hear Kevin Spacey go run as it's been dubbed over in the studio, and I was like, all right, wow, that kind of sucks. This kind of all sucks shit. And then like
and then suddenly they're like in like a garden, like
Yeah.
they're like hundreds of feet away. Like how did they? It's good. Like they ran that whole way.
and
Like,
I run. Yeah.
Hey. Their whole like romance thing is really creepy. That also setting aside old Kevin.
Kevy boy.
The way that whole thing develops is really creepy. Not only, I mean, the age gap thing does not help because it is so creepy, but just the way it's written in the first place of her being like, I'm not interested, basically for like the first, 5 times they interact.
Right.
And then the mom is also like, I know that you're a creep, like stay away from my daughter. And then he's like, I'm going to make you love me. And
and the like actual
disgusting.
stealing away from her mother, who pretty explicitly says like, hey, you need me to you rely on me, which I mean, that's what I took from the wedding night scene, that like she was like leaving her mom for the first time. She couldn't really, I mean, it's like new, it's strange, and like she's with a guy who she doesn't really know, and like she mentions, or they touch on in the film,
she says
that,
that,
yeah, like you don't know me, you don't know who I am, yada yada, like,
and I don't know you,
and I don't know you,
right, yeah, how can you,
but like,
and then he's just like, it's fine, let's make out,
right. I think that's a lot more acceptable for like 20-year-olds, right? Like,
yeah, 220.
Like, yeah, they're just having a good time at that point, right? It's like, yeah, I know you're bad for me. It's fine. Like, let me make my own bad choices, right? Like, come on. So like,
but
it doesn't make sense.
His casting.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense with Kevin Spacey, because it just looks like he's a weird groomer who's like, no, don't worry about it. And like the sending the roses, the yellow roses to her, I don't know, like her tent or her crew thing, whatever it is.
Her trailer.
Yeah. It's like, again, like, if you're young and in love, like, 20-something-year-old, like, that's kind of, like, all right, I guess that's a move, like, maybe more acceptable during that time too. 1960s, like, sending her flowers, great, good on you, man. 45-year-old
sure.
man to I don't even know how old the actress was, but like she looks
was
very young.
20.
Yeah.
She was 20.
Yeah.
So a full 25 years, a full Ricky in between the two of them.
Yeah, it's
at
like,
the time
all right,
of this.
questionable at best.
Yeah.
At worst,
Ugh.
allegation worthy, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it really just hangs over this whole movie, like how, and I know I'm unable to not look at this movie and see the man we know today, and all of his long Wikipedia controversy section. No orgies to my knowledge, but
surprising.
It's like
from the Sex Fest, right? Like,
I do feel like even if it were him and he was a stellar moral character, this movie would be just unwatchable.
Right.
Like with how he is.
I mean, I get separating the art from the artist, but this is an art, and he's not an artist. So
yeah. We should talk about the dance sequences. There's not a ton of them, but there's like 3 or 4 maybe. Because there's the one in the very beginning in the street when he's like, I'm gonna be famous. And then there's the one of him trying to woo her, or like when he's like wearing this like horrendous yellow suit, which we'll have to talk about the fucking outfits in this movie at some point. But like there's that one. He's just so, first off, the whole like the choreography and everything is really ugly. Like it's not conveying anything other than like, don't you remember when movies used to have choreography like this? Like, doesn't this make you think of old Hollywood? Like, it doesn't really do anything to like illustrate who he is. Like his dancing is like very just showman like, and it's, I don't know, it's bad.
Was that while he was singing Across the Sea?
Do you mean Beyond the Sea?
Yes, that is what I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
I do have this movie open in another window. Do you have it open still?
I don't. I can.
You should. Let me share you the exact timestamp of what I'm looking at so that you can watch along with me.
Bet we want to watch along.
This movie is free with ads on YouTube. So if if
you've made it this far into the podcast, haven't watched it yet,
without watching it, I'm sure you do. But if this point in the little like dance sequence when he's dancing in the yellow suit, he like he
got an ad.
Do you see what I'm talking about? Oh no, not the ads. Why don't you put ad blockers on your damn browser? You're so insane.
What? Because I'm watching it on my phone?
You don't have ad blocker on your Wi-Fi?
No, I didn't block the specific port that plays ads yet. Sorry.
You should.
Actually, I was thinking of picking up a dongle for that. All of our watchers, you can pick up a little dongle, you plug right into your router, and it blocks the port that ads come on, and you just don't get ads anymore. You don't get them on your TV if it's connected to the internet. You don't get them on your computer. I don't know what it's called, so that's left for the reader. That's an exercise for the reader.
Dongles, please sponsor us.
Yeah. Shout out Dongles out here.
Okay, watch this clip, and then when he does one of these, you'll know what I'm talking about. Look at his face while he does that. It's at 35 minutes and 35 seconds if you're watching at home. He does this like side step, like
I got the timestamp way
throws
after.
Throws his hands out.
It came over way after 35, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the middle of this. He's wearing the yellow suit, and he like is doing like a flap, and like he's raising his shoulders. No, keep watching. He does a side step, and like he's staring at the camera. He's doing like the Kubrick stare at the camera
the
where
whole
he's
time.
like,
yeah,
it's so creepy.
You know what this reminds me of?
Hell? Like,
Yes, the torturous visions
the
which are
monster
revealed
under
to
your
me
bed?
during my nighttime struggles. Yeah. No. Raimi's
Saw?
Spider-Man 2.
Actually, you're not
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Like, it is kind of edited like that.
It actually,
you're not,
like
you're
I
not
feel,
wrong.
I feel like he kind of, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg here, but I feel like
Definitely
Raimi took,
Raimi, I'm pretty sure.
Because I was gonna say,
Yeah, because this
like,
movie is...
I think Raimi took. I was gonna say I
2000.
think Raimi took it from this, but if it's the other way, that's kind of a.
Well,
Yikes.
Sam Raimi's been around since the 80s. I mean, okay, wait. Spider-Man 2. A movie I don't know the year of right off the bat.
I'm gonna say 2004.
2004, yeah. Okay,
Let's
so this movie
go!
came out at the same time.
Sorry.
Same year.
All right.
But,
That was
like,
crazy.
great pull.
Yeah, right. I
pull.
can't believe that.
You had like a 5-year window that could have not been obnoxious
know,
if you had
right?
gotten it wrong. So,
I was thinking 2006.
no,
I was a
so-
little worried, but okay.
No. But no, I mean, the first Spider-Man is also edited a little, kind of like this.
Wow.
But in this movie, it's not a superhero movie. Maybe Kevin Spacey wants it to be one. But yeah, he's like staring at the camera, singing it all,
Yep.
and he's so stiff and so, just like, he's trying to be 30, I know you haven't seen this movie, but like The Irishman, have you ever heard of that movie? The Scorsese movie?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen people complain about, because in that movie, Scorsese, he cast like De Niro and Joe Pesci and Pacino, and they sometimes use de-aging CGI in those scenes to make De Niro like 35 as opposed to 80
Interesting.
or whatever he is. And it does come, I mean,
it's gonna look a little weird, right? Like,
it looks weird, and like De Niro doesn't really sell 30-year-old anymore,
Right.
like even with the de-aging. So he's kind of stiff when he like curb stomps a guy at one point.
spoilers.
It's very noticeable. And so, yeah. But this is like that, except there's no de-aging. Kevin Spacey thought he could just do that.
Right.
And so it's so...
Too old to play a biopic about yourself? Like, it's like, all right, well.
Wait, I thought it was biopic.
But that's the way I say it. That's not the way other people say it. If I'm quoting someone, I'm not gonna say it wrong for them.
I'm like enraptured by this movie. I'm like watching it through again. It's so...
I could tell because like I was saying words, but you're just in the zone. They're falling on
It's
deaf
like
ears over
watching
here.
like a train crash into a building during a thunderstorm. Like, I don't even know, or like during like a tornado. I don't know. Or an
at
earthquake.
like 100 times slower. I would say at like times negative 100 speed. I don't know how to say, but it's just like super slow.
Yeah, this movie is long
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, it feels
Because it
it's
doesn't
full
focus on anything
hour
interesting,
58.
right? Like,
No, well, yeah, that's the problem. So if you had seen more movies, and that I didn't mean that to sound like such a.
Sheesh. Wow.
If you had seen more movies, you would be more familiar with like the biopic formula, which is like, okay, we're going to show where they grew up, and we're going to show their adversities that they had when they were younger, and then we're going to show them getting their first big break, and then they're going to meet someone, and then they're going to fall in love, but then they're going to experience heartbreak, or they're going to have this thing happen to them where they get a career setback, and then they're going to have drug addiction, or like whatever it is, and then they die. It's like, those are very standard, if you've ever seen the Dewey Cox movie, the one with John C. Reilly. I'm surprised you haven't seen that. Walk Hard.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
We should watch it.
Okay.
It's like a parody of these types of movies, kind of.
Okay.
And so it's so cliche. Like, this movie leans into all of those cliches and like beat by beat. That's why it feels so unfocused and boring, is because it's not interesting to cover a person's whole life. Like, it's more interesting to cover, a short period or like a very particular relationship or something, and not just like, here they are.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing, though. Again, this movie doesn't commit. It doesn't commit to showing his full life, and it
Yeah.
doesn't commit to showing like a shortened time period of his life, especially since Kevin Spacey plays the main role the entire time, and he doesn't age throughout it. I mean, not really noticeably, right? Like, he looks old in the beginning, he looks old
No,
at the
they
end,
like-
right? Like,
Yeah. They like stop giving. They try to put some makeup on him in the beginning, and then they age him up a little bit. Like, they mess with his hairline. They make jokes about him wearing wigs and stuff. So like, they do some of that, but it's not convincing. you know? Yeah.
And so, like, at least to me, like, watching it, if I didn't read anything about it, I would just say, like, straight up, oh, okay, like, this was from, like, a year or two in his life, right? Like, it's focusing on, like, the end of this guy's life, right?
Yeah, and you're like, oh no, this is supposed to cover 30 years?
Yeah, it's, like, very distinctly not that. It's like, all right, well, what the fuck are we doing here, guys?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you want to say, it kind of mainly focuses on, like the time from when he meets his wife to, like, the end of his marriage, and then, like, I mean, shortly afterwards when he dies, right? I mean, that's still 15 years, right? Like, he was with his wife for 7 years, his first wife for 7 years. It's like, all right, well, we don't see that kid age at all. Like his kid.
No.
He's...
Well, it's not his kid. Oh, you mean the young,
his actual kid.
Yeah.
His actual kid pops up at, like, 7, and then it's like, that's it. That's your kid. That's Dot over there.
God, okay. I'm not even on my second page of notes yet.
All right, let's start.
This is about to be a 2-hour movie or 2-hour.
Don't you have a movie
a
to
2-hour
go to after
podcast?
This?
I don't think I'm making it. Man. This truly is hitting. You can see how red my face is here.
Yeah. You're like, listen, I'll
be lucky if I can make it to the
haul.
bathroom.
I don't think I'm making it.
I really am. Yeah. Well, also, I was like, oh, an hour and a half, plenty of time. We're an hour in.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really kind of cringy dialogue specifically, not just but he's our asshole, but, like, even the narration when he's talking, which he, like, completely kind of abandons at a certain point in the movie. Like, he refers to his mom as mama, which is really creepy, like, just to come out of his mouth. Just, again, like, this 45-year-old man, really bizarre.
Yeah, leave it to Forrest Gump.
But then even things like,
mama. Let's be real.
This movie wants to be Forrest Gump.
True.
Actually.
Kevin Spacey wants to be Tom Hanks. Lovable, you know, like...
Yeah, playing a questionable character.
Playing a questionable character? We get to see his life story?
So, at one point during the scene where he is talking to the Copacabana, like, manager or whatever, he's like, he actually explicitly says, like, I want to be on the right side of history. Or he says, or don't you want to be on the right side of history? And it's just like, it's like, oh, Kevin Spacey thinks he's on the right side of history by, like, siding with this guy, like, siding with this random dude who's been 30 years dead.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's, which is, like, extra funny because it's like, I mean, like, what Bobby Darin was doing during that time, shout out Bobby Darin. Like,
shut up, Bobby.
Shut up, Bob. Like, he was making a stand. I appreciate Bob from the bottom of my heart, but
oh my god,
I don't know, like, playing that for, like, affection
brownie
by association, points? I guess. Oh yeah, brownie points.
Yeah,
it's like, that leaves a bad taste, man.
Totally. Yeah. At one point, he says something like, in his narration, I think it is, he says, like, something like, you know, I've come all this way, and it really makes you think. And it's just, it's so, it's like, it's trying to lead you to this conclusion about, like, this. Have you seen the movie Big Fish?
No.
That's, like, a movie I could have seen you seeing. That movie is, like, I think you'd actually really fuck with that movie like crazy, actually. Yeah. Okay. I think you'd love that movie. That movie is all about, like, tall tales and, like, larger than life character.
I love
and,
tall
like,
tales.
You know, all
and
these...
larger than life characters.
I know you do, and you love Ewan McGregor too. Shout out Ewan.
Oh my God, Ewan McGregor's in it.
He is. You got there, Mr. McGregor.
Speaking of which, shout out Jesse Eisenberg in this movie.
What? Jesse Eisenberg's not in this movie.
Fuck, wasn't he?
No.
God damn it. All right.
Jesse Eisenberg was -2 years old when this movie came out. Not really, but.
My bad.
Ewan McGregor is the originator of me saying that I was going to fuck him or something. Like, he was the original one.
Shout out Ewan McGregor.
That. Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out.
No.
Yeah. Even saying that felt wrong. Like. Anyway.
But so, yeah. Okay, I'm trying to like collect my thoughts because these are just a collection of thoughts right now. The outfits for a movie that is so. The tagline of this movie is like, "In the age of cool, Bobby Darin was the coolest," or something like that. Like,
He's so cool. Sorry.
Let me find the exact quote here. In the era of cool, Bobby Darin was the soundtrack. That's the tagline for this movie. So this movie thinks like, we're cool, I'm cool, look how cool I am. But
can you real quick call Kevin Spacey an faggot for that? Because why does he need to be so cool? Like, why is he shoehorning himself in there?
Why are you spelling out the word faggot instead of just saying
because I can't say it.
word?
I'm not allowed to. I'm a
or
cis
the F
white
slur.
male. Oh, I guess I could just
could
say the F slur. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Also, you got a little sugar in the tank. It's fine. I've seen you talk about Timmy Chalamet. Like,
Stop.
Ricky's bobbing his head side to side.
Stop it. I'm also doing a little hand.
You get a
pass.
pass.
You could see that.
I saw. You get an F slur pass because you go to Zumba.
Hell yeah, let's go. All right, in that case, no, dude, like, come on. Why you gotta be a faggot about it, bro? Like, come on, just like make a movie.
What did you just call Kevin Spacey?
I got trapped. It was a trap. Hey,
You broke me.
I'm still trying to look up this
I'm cutting all
Beyond the
that
Sea Jesse Eisenberg shit.
What is there to look up? He's not in this movie.
I know. Now I'm trying to figure out who I thought it was, or who I thought it was that I thought was like Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was just.
I'm sure it's not Little Bobby.
Little Bobby. It was just like in some of the like early scenes where like he has the guys around him, and like, I mean, obviously none of them are noticeable or recognizable. But like I thought I saw him for a second. I was like, oh my god, Jesse Eisenberg, and then I didn't see him again for like the rest of the film.
If he's in this movie, he is uncredited and he has scrubbed it from his like Wikipedia. I think.
Good for him too, right? Like,
yeah, he definitely made the right choice. Okay, no, but for a movie that is so interested in being cool and like evoking this very like cool Frank Sinatra, nightclubs, Copacabana, I am in the mob but only a little bit kind of like vibe, the suits in this are so bad. His suits are like horrible. And I don't just mean like ugly. I mean like poorly
fit, yeah.
Like his like they're too tight at times, like they're weirdly like, you know, like tapering at the shoulders in this weird way. The yellow one in particular is like really ugly. Like, and for a vanity project like this one, it's crazy that he wouldn't do a better job focusing on looking good. It's just
right.
it's like he thought he could just put the costume on and like suddenly be cool, and it's like I'm looking at the
I'm watching the yellow suit scene. Don't you worry about it. You said it. I scrolled back to it.
Okay, good. I was going to say, it's like, honestly, if you're listening to this podcast, even if you didn't watch this movie, go on YouTube, look up Beyond the Sea, and the yellow suit scene in particular, where he's like convinced he's going to woo Kate Bosworth by, like creeping on her, starts at like 32 minutes, maybe roughly. And he's wearing this suit, and like there's, I feel like
the slide is the worst part to me, man.
The part where he's like doing the hand thing
when he does like the slide, and then like it's just like the like zoom up where it's just like his chest and then like his face, and it's like the least flattering angle for any human face is like pushed
and especially
backwards, like downward angle, like pointing up, like it's all just like double chin and like just weird, like just like I don't know, like face fat, which you wouldn't notice if it wasn't at this angle. Like, it wouldn't be there. Like, and he's got his mouth wide open because he's singing. He's like, ah. It's like, bro, like, you directed this, man. Like, I don't know.
It is crazy how ugly he looks even though this is supposed to be a movie about how cool and casual. Like, just like when you first see the yellow suit,
Yeah.
his sleeves on his jacket are too long. The tapering is really bad on the cut of the suit itself. It's puckering in the middle when it's buttoned up. It's an ugly suit in the sense that you can basically see the burgundy shirt underneath it. So it's like such a thin material that you can see. It's like darker. It looks almost transparent. Like it's a silk fucking Party City, like costume. When he moves, it's all like wrinkly and like kind of falls awkwardly at his back. It doesn't cover his butt. The collar is lifting when he moves. It's so fucking ugly. I can't help. I'm sorry. I'm like enraptured. And this is just the one suit. Also,
the shoulders go out a little past his shoulders. I know this is like such a small thing to point out.
No, it's not. It's not. Well, all these things together make it so noticeable how like badly dressed it is. It's like not a well-tailored suit.
We've got to get dye workwear on here.
Not that guy.
Why not?
Let's call him up and have him do a tight 10 on Kevin Spacey's suits.
Derek, we need the Spacey rundown, buddy. Like,
oh, Derek's first name. I see.
That's well.
I'm like,
that's what he changed his Twitter handle display name too. So.
I'm like, I can't help myself but watch. Ew, it's so ugly.
You really are. Like, you're entranced. Like, when he has the jacket on like, over it too. Ugh.
Oh, it's. I'll cut out all the silence, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, if people are watching along, then they can, And anytime they're interacting together, it really is just scary.
Ooh,
like,
okay, I just got to the part where like they're in the cafe, she and her mom are in the cafe, and she leans
and
back,
he's like skeeving on him.
And he's like there, yeah. I will say though,
it's like a horror movie.
Yeah, so that looks like a horror movie because she like turns and almost screams and then like turns away and like runs. But that particular red, love it. The red on that suit,
the like maroon,
yeah.
Like crushed velvet.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like a bad suit. It shouldn't be bad. It should be good, in fact. Oh my god, yeah. And he's like staring down the camera.
Not too bad.
Which one?
The red one.
The red one? Mm-hmm. It's not. You can't really see it though.
It's on screen for like a couple seconds. Yeah.
He really is doing some Zumba moves in this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. I'm gonna actually. I think this week I'm gonna make the podcast cover art a special episode and make it this part. I think I'm gonna do that.
Oh, can I also mention, just because I'm skipping around, the scene where what's his wife's name? D? Am I crazy?
Sandra D.
Sandra D. Okay, what's D?
Yeah, or Sandy. Yeah.
Yeah, when she walks in and she has her face on like Cosmopolitan, she's like, "Look, honey." And he goes,
"Oh yeah," and then he's like, "Look at this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Bobby Darin was an asshole. But Kevin Spacey definitely paints him.
Sure seems like it.
It sure seems like it.
Yeah.
And I get that he's going for like the lovable asshole side of you, but like at least from what I've read about Bobby Darin, shout out Bobby Darin, he seems like a decent-ish fella. I don't know.
I kind of like this Bobby Darin guy.
You know who I heard's not too shabby, bit of a swell fella? Bobby Darin. Get a load of this guy. I'm still looking out for Jesse Eisenberg lookalike.
Please do. Let me know if you see him. I'm still just like watching this movie like I'm hypnotized. I like it. I cannot look away. Jesus. He really is a dead-eyed actor. What a disaster. Like, what was he thinking? I don't know. Like he thought this movie was like had him in the can, like for like a good, like real acclaim. Like he thought he was cooking with this. You can really tell.
What points to that? What makes you think that this like was in his eyes a sort of like breakout or acclaim-worthy film?
Well, that's the thing. This wasn't a breakout, right? He had already won his two Oscars by this point. Like he's a 2-time Oscar winner. Like he has as many Oscars as fucking Denzel Washington. I'm trying to think of other 2-time Oscar winners, but yeah, he's like a multi, He's got
twice as many as Leo Dio.
It's true. That doesn't take much. But just like you can just kind of feel it in the way that his performance comes across. Like there are several scenes where it's like, oh, this is the Oscar clip. Like this is the one they're going to play during the ceremony, like of, you know, and Kevin Spacey nominated for Beyond the Sea. And like, you know, it'll...
I didn't get a single Oscar-worthy clip from this film.
Oscar-worthy? No. But like an Oscar clip in particular of like a big showy scene of the actor yelling or crying or being emotional or like saying a certain special monologue, like a thesis statement. Like that kind of like clip is always what's used when an actor gets nominated for an Oscar. That's like the thing that they show. Yeah, I'm not saying that this movie is Oscar worthy. I'm saying that he was gunning for it and it ain't happened.
I mean, maybe I haven't seen enough movies for that, but like I don't think I could sit down and point out a single scene that I was like, oh, this is like the one that he wanted them to show at the Oscars.
I think the scene of him with his mom, like his actual mom, like I think that scene, his like acting there is very like sincere. He's trying for sincere. I think the interaction that he has with Bob Hoskins after that, his stepfather, like I think, you know, when he's like when they're talking to each other. I think any of the scenes with the kid, especially toward the end, where he says like, stories are like sunbeams or whatever the fuck he says. It makes no sense.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense.
It means nothing. It means
you could do like with whatever you want, kid. It's like a moonbeam. Yeah. It's like, okay. What can you do with a moonbeam? Like,
honestly, toward the end of the movie, I was like, I hope this guy just dies already. The end of the movie really just like grinds to a halt because it's so slow.
I did get really tuned out near the end. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. He's doing like John Lennon drag, like when he's like living in his trailer and wearing the little round little round glasses. Like, it makes him look even older. Like he looks like 55 instead of 45 when Bobby Darin died at like 35. It's crazy. Yeah, man. Okay, I'm officially flipping my page of notes over to the second slide. We've covered a lot of these things already. The other thing, just like talking about the writing, the way that all of the characters are, again, just like in service of this one guy and how they are unable to have any kind of conflict or character arc that isn't just played for either, isn't Bobby a great guy or, you know, aren't these troublesome things just illuminating how special he is? You know, toward the end, like they have their big fight, him and his wife, and then she like sticks around. They don't talk about them getting divorced, but the one scene that she really shows up in before the very end is like her being drunk and like them making jokes about how drunk she is and how she's a bad actress and not in good movies and stuff. And it's like, you're just making fun of this woman that he clearly loved in real lilife, you know, as my foremost Bobby Darin expert has said.
Okay, well, you know, I am going to say, I don't know. And like, I mean, maybe I'm definitely projecting a lot onto Bobby Darin here. Shout out Bobby Darin. But, that grinds me to a halt every time I say it too. Like it like flashes like bright in my eyes, like shout out, and then like
shout out Bobby Darin.
I get fucking
big neon lights.
I get the MIB
like I'm at the Copacabana
like, thing on my eyes. Just shout out Bobby Darin. I'm just sitting here like shout out Bobby Darin, shout out Bobby Darin, and I lose all sense of control. I don't know what the fuck I was saying before this.
How he was a good guy who loved his wife. He was a wife guy, in fact.
Yeah, I feel like Bobby Darin was a good guy. I mean, at least from what I read about him, he seems like a pretty stand-up fella. Do I think there were marital problems that led to his divorce? Yeah. I mean, they were married for 7 years. They got divorced.
Apparently he was in orgies. Big fan.
He was a big fan of orgies.
That'll do it.
I mean, I think the movie kind of shows why, but like they really kind of understate it. Like, his wife didn't like that he was going around a bunch, but Bobby's a free soul,
right? And it's framed,
you know.
Yeah, and it's framed in this like she's just jealous of his great career, and it's like
no, it is framed like the boomer, like, oh, got the ball and chain back home. Yeah, I'd love to go drinking this weekend, but my bitch wife won't let me. I gotta take care of my stupid fucking kid.
Another week of terrible, terrible faces on this podcast coming from Ricky. Bro, you need to shave your chin, by the way.
Another week of terrible, terrible movies made by my actress wife who I fell in love with while making a movie with.
Her wig, really bad. She has a really bad wig in this movie. Yeah, it's bad.
This movie is actually a character assassination of Bobby Darin. End of the day, right? Like, let's be really...
Someone should do something about this. Someone should write a letter.
Has Dodd seen this? Does Dodd know what they've done to his father?
Dodd approved of this movie, I'm pretty sure. He was involved. Yeah. Well, sure, it's a glamour project, It's like, oh, don't you love this lovable scamp who definitely did not cheat on his wife and, wasn't an asshole, even though he's clearly a dick.
Definitely didn't have orgies without his wife involved while he was on the road, which she found out about and then divorced him for. Like,
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, but...
Wow. I think he definitely loved her at a time, though, right?
I mean, yeah, both can be true, but...
Yeah. The Mandarin scene where the man lighted.
Yeah, where did that come from?
How did that get past
Dodd?
That's
not real.
Dodd, we gotta have some words, buddy.
Wait. Well, and that's the thing. Part of this movie, the thing he said, I just typed in Beyond the Sea into Google and didn't think about the fact that there's 300 billion things called Beyond the Sea. Man, I am feeling this truly, dog. I cannot.
Truly?
I'm about to take the world's longest piss after this.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But no,
I love a good long piss, honestly.
Me too, man. I love, people make the joke about good pussy sounds like mac and cheese, but really it sounds like fried chicken when you're peeing.
No, you're right, and very valid for that statement.
What would you know?
About piss or pussy, all right? Let's make the distinction here, Lane.
Clearly neither.
Wow. That's crazy. Lane.
20 years ago, we had Sean Piss. Greg Pussy.
I don't even know what a third P is. Throw in here.
I don't know. Billy Bob Faggot. I don't know.
Don't let Billy Bob Faggot die.
What?
It's a trap! It's a setup! It's a setup!
Oh my god. I was like, another clean episode with minimal editing. Crying on mic. No, I'm pretty sure that...
fucking, what is it, snowflakes, the people holding hands that you have to cut out. You know what I'm talking about? When you pull the piece of paper and you cut.
Does that have anything to do with?
Because you have to cut a lot for that. It's something you cut a lot, and then you get a nice product at the end.
I am sobbing.
Is there a word for that? There's got to be a word for that. Right?
Editing? You're talking about editing?
No, the chain
editing.
hand, the people holding hand chain.
I think
thing.
A paper chain, maybe a paper chain. I don't know. Listeners, get us in the comments.
Yeah, listeners, thank you.
No.
Shout out Brussels.
Shout out Brussels. Love you, Brussels. Wait, Brussels. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
But Bobby Darin's son was definitely involved in this, and I think even Sandra Dee, who was still alive, I think until a few years ago, she was also involved, and I think they approved of it because the whole movie is one big jerk off. And, in the movie, Kevin Spacey even says to the little kid version of him, like you mentioned at the beginning, the kid's like, we didn't dance in the street. And then he says well, we're telling stories. It's fine. Whatever, which isn't a bad thing to say or whatnot. But, when you're making a biopic that is so clearly about glamorizing this guy, maybe you should tell a little bit more of the truth or at least a more complete story. I don't know. I think last year was full of weird, questionable, overly glamorous biopics. So I feel like I hate this movie even more after that. So,
I mean, I think for sure,
anyway.
It needed to tell a more complete story, and it just needed to commit. It needed to pick a lane, right?
Not this lane.
Yeah, right.
This movie didn't need. Last thing I'll say. Do you have anything else you want to say about this movie?
I'll say I don't hate it as much as I hate Avatar.
I was going to ask you that. I can't fucking believe that you just said that. That's insane.
Well,
that is the craziest thing you've ever said.
Um,
That is crazier than you saying I am allergic to cats even though I have 5 of them. Yeah.
but
It's crazier than you not realizing that there were people wearing fucking blackface or Asian face or whatever in fucking Cloud Atlas.
I didn't know if you were going to bring that up because you mentioned the prosthetics earlier. And I was going to say, but I didn't because I didn't know if you had forgotten. Okay, all right. But cat's out of the bag. Yeah.
Steel trap up here.
I just think I don't know. I honestly, and you know what? We went into this last week. Ricky's autism diagnosis hasn't come through yet, but I think I just like. It's hard for me to recognize people's faces and like what's going on with them sometimes. Anyway, last thing I want to say about this movie. Even though maybe I don't hate it as much as I hate Avatar, and like, I mean, it's a bad film, but it's like unremarkable.
It's a worse movie. You can
like
hate
Bobby
Avatar
Darin.
more, but this is a...
Okay.
That's not what this movie's for.
I'm glad this movie introduced me to Bobby Darin.
5 stars.
And then,
Read his Wikipedia page. Great guy. 5 stars on that Wikipedia page.
okay, but like you got me to watch Avatar again. I probably would watch Avatar again if somebody like was like, "Hey man, like you wanna watch this like bad movie?" Like I'd watch it again, right? I would not watch this movie again. If somebody was like, "Hey Rick, like you want to watch this film again?" I'd be like, "Nah, it kind of sucked. I'm not gonna spend any more time watching it. It's really a waste of time and pretty boring."
Thank you. I will allow you to dislike Avatar more, but as long as you can acknowledge that this is a worse made and worse movie and like morally repugnant in a way.
At least Avatar makes me feel something, right? Like end of the day.
Yeah. Other than disgust and
right.
like revulsion.
Faint disgust in myself
like,
for like sitting
uncleanliness.
through it. Yeah.
The very last thing I have to say is that the very end of this movie. Okay, this isn't the last thing I have to say. I have 2 things.
Okay, fair.
Shout out 2 things. Great podcast. The end of this movie is scary. Like him dancing with the little boy is like allegedly very creepy.
Oh yeah.
Like does not. Yeah,
every
it's
interaction
with
Kevin Spacey and a kid on screen, it's a little like, ooh, I hope nothing allegedly
pump
happens.
the brakes.
You know?
Get this guy away from. Get this guy off the screen.
Yeah, get this fucking guy off the screen immediately. Yeah.
Okay, two more things.
Okay, great.
Actually,
shout out 2 More Things podcast.
Shout out the sequel to 2 Things, the podcast, 2 More Things. Their sister episode series. But no, the title of one of Bobby Darin's albums is "That's All," which made me think of The Devil Wears Prada. That's where Meryl Streep was pulling it from. She watched this movie before she made The Devil Wears Prada, probably.
Right, probably, yeah.
Probably.
I mean, this movie has had huge impacts upon the film world, right? Spider-Man 2, The Devil Wears Prada. It's really endless.
Those awful videos that Kevin Spacey releases on Christmas every year, where he's like,
"What?
Wait,
what the fuck are you talking about, Jesse?"
Oh, Clements? No, please, after we're done here, look up the Kevin Spacey. Just search like Kevin Spacey Christmas videos, or even watch it on your phone. Do it now. I can wait. I've got time. I'm not going to the movie.
When is that movie? When does that start?
You're like, can we get this show on the fucking
No,
road?
when does that movie start, actually start?
A half hour. It's not happening. It's
what do you mean it's not happening? How far away is it?
Home. I have to like pee, and then I have to walk over there, and it's not happening.
What the fuck do
I
you
have to
mean?
unpack.
You don't have to unpack.
I literally have to unpack. It's fine. Anyway, I would rather do this and I think there's a bathtub in this room. There was not a bathtub at the last hotel, so I think I'm going to sit and veg out and watch a different bad movie on my laptop instead.
I was worried that was related to the peeing and the unpacking. I wasn't sure how the order there would work, but go on.
Yeah, I'm peeing into my suitcase.
I'm unzipping it, I'm putting it in the tub with me, and I'm just pissing.
I'm like a cat. I have to... mark my scent on my own stuff.
I had a cat,
Please?
not my cat, but like I lived in an apartment with a cat who was jealous that there was another cat that like would follow me around and like she would sit on my shoulders and stuff. Rosie, shout out Rosie.
Shout out Rosie.
This other cat, new to the house, allowed to like free roam, yada yada. Fucking pissed in my suitcase, which had a bunch of clothes and shit in, and I was like, man, what the fuck?
That's
dude?
really funny, actually.
And like
it's not funny. If that happened to me, I would throw the cat through a window. But like, it's actually funny. That
I was just so resigned because like I was working from home, right?
Yeah, you can't do anything.
Yeah,
right?
I can't do anything about it. I just hear I hear like piss, like something pissing in the background, and I turn around, and this cat's just like sitting in the suitcase, staring right at me. I was like, "Hey, yo, what the fuck, man?" And like the cat doesn't stop at all. It's just sitting there, just
it's just staring at
pissing,
you.
and I'm like, "Bro, like, huh?" That cat was no longer
That's so
allowed in my room.
funny.
Actually, the cat started pissing elsewhere after I like barred it from my room, and he got barred into the basement, which I always thought was sad.
Oh, no.
But
yeah. Basement kitty.
he was a basement cat in his old house, and I think that's where he picked up bad
For a
piss
reason.
habits. Yeah. I don't know. A lot of animals in that house, man. A lot of fucking animals. He says with 5 cats in his home at the current moment.
You know what kind of house that was?
What?
An animal house. Okay, last thing I have to say about this movie is that, did you look at the YouTube comments? Have you looked at the YouTube comments lately?
Yes! Yes, I did! Yeah, I fucking looked at the YouTube comments, bro. Why is it unhinged? Why is it just filled with, like, lead-filled boomers going, oh, what a great film, 10 out of 10. I love Kevin
Bobby
Spacey
Darin.
here.
Yeah, they don't make them anymore. Kevin
Bobby
Spacey,
Darin
one of my
left us way
favorite
too early.
actors. Yeah, he's so great in all these movies. It's like, this was posted a year ago.
Spacey fits this role like a glove. Yeah, whenever
like
I was,
OJ's
reading
glove.
all these, and they're all like comments within like a year, like a fucking year ago. Like, bro, like you do know like who Kevin Spacey is, right? Like are we in Bizarro world over here?
One of my favorite actors miss him in the movies. You do? Oh my god.
I love the comments
guess-
that are completely unrelated. Just like the early 60s were the years of the Bobbies, and then just listing
I
different
see that.
Bobbies.
This person.
It's so good.
Bobby Darin, Bobby Vinton, Bobby V.
Shout out Bobby
60
Darin, shout out Bobby Vinton, shout out Bobby B, shout out Bobby Ryan.
60 years ago, we had Bobby Darin, Bobby Vinton.
Oh my god. They're Bobby gentrifying the whole area.
Oh my god. Holy fuck. Okay.
Beautiful, all the
All right.
actors that performed with him. Sorry, beautiful, all the actors that was performed with him. Congratulations.
This really shows you that. Never mind. I'm not.
Whoa! Wait a
Like-
second. 39 likes on this one. Shout out, Kristen.
No, do not
Ryan 9753.
Oh, I see. What an amazingly well done movie. It had it all. Emotion, music, acting, and all the depth of the human condition, from survival of an illness to making it to the top, and all the pain and suffering that goes with it.
What the fuck do you mean? It didn't touch on any of that. Did we watch different films?
You know what's good is the one reply to that comment that's just expanded. I want you to see what it is. Yeah, just the thumbs up
Just a
emoji.
single thumb. No
Holy
likes
shit.
on that
Okay.
one, by the way.
I want to. Am I crazy? Actually, I have the opposite reaction that you did. Where if someone was like, "Can we watch this movie?" I'd be like, "Fucking cue it up!" Like, I
Fuck
want to
no.
watch this.
Fuck you, dude. You're a glutton for punishment. That's fucking crazy, man.
I am. It's
That's
true.
insane.
Don't talk about my sexual habits on this podcast.
What the fuck?
Okay,
Hey, listen.
that was
You brought it up first with the
allegedly.
right, so I don't want to hear about it.
I have to bleep that again.
Yeah,
They're gonna
oh
get
yeah.
sick of all the bleeping. I'm just gonna bleep that with allegedly.
Yeah, with all the allegedly. That's
Podcast.
good. That's good. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Rick's pick now. Get
is
us
a
get
Rick's
us out of here. We gotta get
Let's
this
move it.
guy
Let's
off
move
the
it on.
screen.
Like, come on, yeah, get the
Yeah.
fucking guy out of here. Rick's pick. So, shout out Brussels. This one's for you.
Shout out Brussels. Yeah. Hey, whoa. Do you want to set the stage a little bit about this? About how you came?
That was how I wanted to set the stage. I was setting the stage with
Go
Brussels.
Ahead.
So I found a movie by a director from Brussels. And I'm trying to find the name of it because I'm being a little troll. Anyway, so oh, there it is. Yep. It's a Rick's pick. Shout out Brussels. I found a movie.
Shout out Brussels.
Shout out Brussels. From a Belgian director about her time in New York and letters from her mother. And it sort of illustrates how her experience in New York changed her. And that movie is Letters from Home.
News from Home.
And that movie is News from Home. Which, by the way, just for all the listeners at home, I thought this was a real cool, real sort of under the radar.
You really were proud of this one.
I was so gassed when I like low key suggested this link. Because we were going through like, oh hey, maybe this, yada yada. I was like, hey, I have one.
Well, because I was like, can we, or how would you feel about a really long movie? Because I have not seen this director's like most famous movie, Jean Dielman, but it's like a 3.5 hour movie, and so I brought that up to you, and all I said was, would you be down for a really long movie? And you said, would you be down for like a really short documentary from Brussels or something?
I said a mildly Brussels-related themed movie, right?
Yeah.
And you were immediately like, "Oh, it's in Bruges, isn't it?" I was like, "No, yeah. Lane, I'll give you 2 weeks to try to." This was 2 weeks ago. I'll give you 2 weeks to try and suss out what movie I'm thinking of. I felt so sassy. I was on top of the world here. I did hedge my bets. I said I want to bet money that you can't, but I try not to bet on losing dogs, right? Because I knew it. I made these claims at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Whoa, you're going to dox us.
No, you're doxing us. I didn't say that we were in Eastern Standard Time. Should I convert it to...
Yeah, I want it in UTC, actually.
Yeah, I'll convert it to just the Arizona fucking time zone.
Give me the timestamp. What was the finished product of my when did I deduce it? When did I crack this code?
I'm trying to get down to it. So playing a little bit of cat and mouse.
I was gonna say I did grill you. I was like, "Is it this? Is it this? Is it who is it? Is it a female director?" I was definitely.
But you got really close within the first 10 minutes. You were like, you had a movie by the director, right? And then I was like,
well, yeah, because I was like, did we come up with the same movie? And you were like, no, it's not Jean Dielman. And then you were like, or I kept asking you questions, and I was like, well, the only other like Belgian, because you said it was a documentary, and I was like, the only like Belgian documentarian I could think of would be like Chantal Ackerman, but I don't know if that's what you're thinking of. And
you did mention like, Super Size Me, which was like so far off, and I was like,
yeah,
and yeah, okay, 8:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you can replace Eastern Standard Time with allegedly if you want to, if you're feeling real.
I am currently staying in the Embassy Suites in Dallas Fort Worth area. Like, I'm in room 919. By the time this comes out, if you want to come in here and like smell the couch where I was sitting,
postal code.
yeah, like it's fine. But
yeah, so 8:13 p.m. You hit me with is it a Chantal Ackerman movie? She's Belgian and makes docus, and I hit you with a very juicy fuck. In my opinion, that was a real hearty one, because I felt it too. I read it and I immediately was like, fuck. Oh no, I read it, I was like, fuck you. And then I had to like redo it, and it didn't have the same vitriol as the first time I did it. But reading that, I was so pissed, man. Under half an hour, under 25 minutes. I thought this was a good pick. I was like, it's so underground. Like,
I'm excited. Well, to be fair, I was thinking of that same director, like a different movie from that director. So you kind of had seeded it already, and you noticed that it was in my watch list on Letterboxd. So. I do appreciate the genre of podcasting where we're just gassing me up, though. I do like that. So, I'll go toe-to-toe
the fact that it was like
movie guessing
on your watch list, I was like, oh shit, like let's fucking go. If Lane doesn't get this, they're gonna be so fucking pissed. They're gonna be mad at me. They're gonna be mad at themselves. They're gonna be mad at Chantal Ackerman. It's gonna be great. I
Part
butchered
of it
that name
too-
too. I know, but
No, I think Chantal Ackerman. I actually, she's French or Belgian. It's a French name. No, but it doesn't help that I'm always looking at my watch list and sorting it by shortest movies first. And this movie is like a clean 70 minutes or something, like 85. So, I mean, I've looked at it a lot too, and considered watching it. So, but I have not watched it yet. So, I'm excited. News from Home, 1976, directed by Chantal Ackerman. It's a documentary. It's available at least on HBO and Criterion, but I'm sure it's probably free on the internet somewhere too. But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Looks super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
It'd be nice to see a good movie after this, but
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, we can't take us out with the song Beyond the Sea, right?
no. What are we doing then?
I don't know. I forget what I ended the last episode with.
Ooh, wait a second. Spacey, allegedly. No, wait, I gotta work on the tone on that.
Go ahead, take another swig from that beverage.
Spacey, allegedly did a ton of shitty stuff, but I don't want to talk about Kevin Spacey when there's Bobby Darin. Shout out Bobby Darin.
Perfect. I couldn't have come up with it better. We couldn't have drafted a better one. What if I still ended it with WAP
honestly.
after all that?
Hop on top, I wanna ride. I do a giggle, rollins inside. Spit in my mouth, look in my eyes. This pussy is wet, come take a dive.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships that go sail